This is the biggest thing Ari Emanuel and Vince McMahon have ever done.
Yeah.
Combining forces like this there's nothing like this. There's never been anything like this. Everyone was very interested in us, and I appreciate that. But the synergies that Ari brings, totally different than everyone else.
You are the WWE, and the WWE is you. So why?
It's the right time. It's the right time to do the right thing. And it's the next evolution of WWE.
That wax figure version of Vince McMahon was talking about this very exciting merger between Endeavor and WWE. They also own UFC, so this is a huge deal. They've merged together 21 and so billion dollars worth of a couple businesses all coming together, which of course, as we've seen all the scandals that swirled around the WWE specifically and Vince McMahon, another one has popped up since that event that was just about a month ago. Let's see what he's been up to.
The wild card throughout the bidding process was what role, if any, WWE founder Vince McMahon would play in a new company after a sexual misconduct scandal. McMahon was forced to retire thereafter. He left the company for nearly 6 months before returning to help lead a potential transaction. Most had assumed McMahon would leave altogether if a deal happened. He is staying on as executive chairman of the board at the behest of Emanuel himself. I can't help but wonder, and I have to ask you, had the scandal not happened,
Right.
would we be sitting here today?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it makes sense. Nothing's ever happened like this before. And again, I'm always looking what's best for our stockholders, what's best for the company.
He's resetting to the money, but when it comes to those sexual misconduct type of things that made him step down several months ago, and then he jumped back in apparently in January of this year. This is actually what's going on now from the writers of many of these scripts and character development. There's a new lawsuit, so he skirted that one. Here's what we're dealing with now. World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporation, Vince McMahon, and other executives allegedly discriminated and retaliated against a black female writer for objecting to, quote, offensively racist and stereotypical jargon used in the scripts of black wrestlers, including Bianca Belair and Apollo Crews. That's according to that lawsuit. Here's what some of those details of that. Abrams is that black writer that is now suing. She began writing for WWE SmackDown and WWE Monday Night Raw in 2020. She complained of racial and gender stereotypes in scripts. Here's some details, including ones instructing Belair to say, uh-oh, don't make me take off my earrings and beat your ass, and to Crews to speak with a stereotypical, exaggerated Nigerian accent. So Crews, by the way, has Nigerian background, but he does not have that strong of an accent, but he wanted him to play it up for the cameras. Here's a picture of Bianca Belair, who apparently was supposed to take off her earrings and go, I'm gonna beat your ass. I think we can kind of see the reasons why he wanted that to happen. There's other instances of some of these things that were pitched in writer meetings. Another of these alleged pitches involved Reggie, who now wrestles under the name Scripps in NXT, and Shane Thorne, who also was released by WWE in 2021. In around the spring of that year, Ryan Callahan allegedly pitched that Thorne, a white Caucasian male, would, quote, hunt Reggie, who's a black man, for fun. This allegedly included an idea for Reggie to be, quote, held captive in cages. More pitches just going around for these fun storylines. I got one more, Ray. There's another one. In this suit, Abrams also alleges that during her employment, several writers made racist pitches, one of which included the idea of this backstory for Saudi Arabian-born wrestler Mansoor having secretly orchestrated the attacks of September 11th, 2001. And for anyone who's watched Vince McMahon when he was in charge of all this happening throughout the years, there was plenty of comments, storylines, and wrestlers that were absolutely objectified, stereotyped, and they're supposed to be in these boxes. And now that he's found himself back in here, this writer's bringing this up, and she wants some retribution.
Yeah, and I mean, and she should get it. But just, I want to mention that I'm really tired of people who say that, you know, a false accusation of sexual harassment or sexual assault can ruin a man's life. Because Vince McMahon stepped down for 6 months and then got to step right back up. And that you showed a graphic. He's on screen there with Dana White, who beat his wife on camera. No repercussions for that. Not any repercussions for that. So, you know, but so there's, you know, when has a man's life ever been ruined from a real accusation? So please stop saying that. But I mean, it's really messed up because my understanding is I'm not a big wrestling fan, but from what I know, I have friends who are. The community who watches it is very diverse and very accepting. So knowing that the writers on the back end are subjecting, other writers to racism or sexism, I could see that really resonating as a cause for the community who enjoys watching wrestling to sort of rally around and defend the writer who was subject to that abuse.
Yeah, my kid is deep into it, and he's been telling me all these backstories. And he did mention that fans, many times when they heard that Vince McMahon was coming back, they were supposed to have protests and start chanting other things, and we haven't seen that yet because it's still behind the scenes. He's trying to keep his thumb on it without actually showing his face that much anymore, because apparently he's been doing things to his face. Damn. You mean what Vince McMahon usually looked like? Look up Vince McMahon before now, and then compare it to that image of whoever that was at the beginning of this whole thing. By the way, this writer Abrahams, she was then fired for complaining too much, and the excuse was she took a WrestleMania-38 chair home, which the lawsuit says many of the other white writers do that. It's a normal thing because they're done with them and they're commemorative. She took it back. They said that she took it wrongfully and got rid of her over that.